I'm going to show you an incredible mind-reading utility device that you can use to read anyone's mind and predict anything you want. It is absolutely incredible, super versatile, and you're going to look like a true mind reader with this device. Let's take a quick look at a performance of this effect. Now for this, since I don't have a spectator, I'm going to use ChatGPT. Hey ChatGPT, name any insect that you'd like. Dragonfly. Okay, that's a great choice. That could have been absolutely anything, any insect. And in this envelope, I put a prediction. Tear down the side of the envelope, right? If we tear down the side, there's one billet, all right? Absolutely nothing else. I'll pull it out just like this, and you can see, look, nothing else inside there, completely empty. And just like that, of course, I have predicted dragonfly. What is good, guys? It is Reed and welcome back to another video. Today I got an awesome one for you guys. We're going to be talking about an incredible piece of mentalism using envelopes. Envelopes are something I love to use in my mentalism as it just helps it feel a bit more official. It helps it bring out the reactions and bring strength to your routines and effects. Now this effect is loosely based off an old Annemann idea and it is super powerful. Now I've taught a next level version of this already months ago on my mentalism membership. If you want to learn to take this trick to the absolute next level, this is the beginner version. If you want to learn the expert version with a ton of other ideas and options, it is available to learn right now, along with some of the best mentalism content on YouTube right here on my mentalism membership, which you can sign up for right here or at the link in the description. But this is an incredible effect, super versatile. You can do absolutely anything with this little utility, and I know you guys are going to love it. So if you guys would like more incredible mentalism and to learn that one-on-one from me or anything else card magic or mentalism related, you can sign up for a private lesson at the link in the description. And with all that said, let's not waste any more time and let's jump right in to the video. All right, guys, so this is a super awesome utility device that can be done and used for a ton of different ideas, a ton of different effects. So I'm going to give you some sort of bonus effects and ideas near the end of this video, so make sure you stick around because you do not want to miss it. That's where the real gold is. But for now, we'll talk about the device. So first of all, envelopes. You can do this with any envelopes you'd like. I really love these envelopes. You can find them on Amazon. I'll link them down in the description, but they're great for playing card magicians because they just fit a playing card. They're sleek, black, but they're also great for mentalism. So for this effect, you're going to need several envelopes depending on the version and the variations you want to do, but essentially this is a multiple outs envelope, believe it or not. It allows you to have multiple predictions and reveal them how you would like. And so we do have to gimmick this envelope. So let's jump down to the card table and we can go over the build. So the build for one of these envelopes, what you need is 2 envelopes, some scissors, and some double stick tape. Now you can use glue, but I find this works way better with double stick tape, so I would highly recommend you use that. So step 1, you're going to cut off the flaps of one of the envelopes. So you want to cut off the top tab. Then you want to make a very small cut along all the other 3 sides, and that should dislodge the front flaps from the back panel. Okay, so once you've made your cuts, then this should just slide right off and you're left with this black divider that's the perfect size to fit in this other envelope, and that's what you need. The rest of the envelope you can get rid of. Now you're going to take this envelope and you're going to take 3 pieces of double stick tape, but you have to make sure you put them in very specific spots. So you're going to take a long piece and place it along the top edge like that. Then you're going to take a second piece and place it along the right side. Then you're going to flip this and take another piece and place it along the left side. And that is all you need in terms of tape. Okay, so it should look like this. Top side, right side, and then the left side on the back. The left side on the back. Okay, so that's how it should look. All right, now with this divider, this will allow you to have 2 outs hidden within one envelope. If you followed me this way, then you're always going to tear the right side, so your right of the envelope. But either the flap is going to be facing you or it's going to be facing the audience. So you're either tearing this side or this side, but for you it's always the right. So it's either the right with the flap pointing towards you or the right with the flap pointing away. And you need to decide where you want to put your outs. Now, when you put this in, you want the top piece of double stick tape against the back with the flap of the envelope, okay? So you're gonna slide this in. Now this is kind of tricky. You're gonna have to kind of work it a little bit and try to get the double stick tape on the sides that you've peeled off to not get stuck before it gets in all the way. So you might get a little stuck and you have to kind of peel it off and then keep sliding it down and working it in. But it's not too tricky, and eventually you'll get it worked in there. So now that flap's in all the way. Double stick tape, you can see, is along the inside flap, and then there's nothing out here. And now once you got it aligned, you got it in all the way, you're gonna firmly press down on both sides. What you've created is basically two pockets in the envelope, right? You have two pockets with a secret door at the back here. Now, if you pay attention to this build, we have double stick tape on the inside here and on the outside here. If I tear it along this right side, this front flap is gonna stay closed and this back flap is gonna be open. If I tear along the right side this way, which is the left side, right? But the right side when this is facing away, then this front pocket is gonna be open and this back pocket is sealed with tape. So now it'll only open one of the pockets. You want to decide what routine you're going to do with this before you complete the build, because it does have to be set up before. The way that I do this the most is I have everything set up. So let's say we're doing male picture cards. So you're going to have Jack of Hearts, let's say, and King of Hearts. So I like to just rip up a billet in half. It's the perfect size to fit in these envelopes. And then I fold each one of them. If you have a routine that truly you're just using, you know, this one envelope with two outs, then you can have one that's hidden in the secret chamber from the start, and the other one you bring out, you write the prediction in real time, and then you put it in the envelope and you seal it, right? That's how you would do this when you kind of only have two outs. So this is good combined with equivoque or certain routines where you're just going to use multiple outs mixed with other techniques. But I like to do this as, you know, a multiple outs routine. And again, I'll explain some of the killer gold with this. But for now, let's just say, you know, you're using equivoque and you've equivocated them down. And if you want a tutorial on equivoque, I'll link it up here. And just to keep it simple, let's say, you know, with equivoque, you forced them down to male heart picture cards, right? You've got them all the way down, so they're either picking the king or the jack. So now comes the moment where you load this thing. So if it's the case where I've equivocated them down to it's a heart male, you know, picture card, well then I can just load one of these and the other one I can predict in, you know, in front of them in real time, obviously before the equivoque part of it. But if I'm doing a bigger routine where, let's say I've only forced on them the picture cards or the male picture cards, but not a suit, and it's gonna be, you know, a real multiple outs, well then you're gonna wanna set up this envelope beforehand completely. So you're gonna take Jack of Hearts and we'll put it in the back slot. Now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna remove the double stick tape from the back. And now that that's removed, I set my prediction in, and I seal it up along that top edge. So now the chamber is closed and that's hidden. And if you look in this envelope, there's nothing to be seen. It just looks like a completely regular envelope. These envelopes don't have any way to seal, so I like to add another piece of double stick tape with the backing on it, and then we're ready to go. We're ready to perform if you're gonna do it this way. And again, this way is for if you're gonna do just two outs, right? Just two outs. Now you can say, look, I have this envelope, I'm gonna make a prediction, boom, and then maybe you'd use equivoque to get them down to heart male picture cards, and then, you know, you have them a free choice of the jack or the king. But obviously we wanna get more outs than that. So we're gonna set this up where we actually take the king and we also set the king inside the envelope, and now we seal it up with our double stick tape, and now we have a sealed envelope but set up with both of our predictions. You want to come up with a pattern to remember if you want this facing towards you or away from you. So what I often like to do is, because these are black, you can take a Sharpie and you can mark them. Again, you can easily just remember, okay, Jack is flap towards me, King is flap away, and I'm always tearing the right side. But if I want to be extra safe, I'll put a J in the top right corner of the flap. And now it's very hard to see, but I can see it in person, that little J up there. So now if I know I want Jack, I just put the J facing towards me. So again, the effect you saw in the performance, we're gonna talk about in the other ideas in a second. Now that you've done this, you can set up 3 more envelopes with all the other outs. We have Jack and King of Hearts. We'd set up Jack and King of Diamonds, Jack and King of Clubs, and Jack and King of Spades. I'm gonna put one of these in all of my pockets. One in the front left, front right, back left, and back right. And again, they're all set up with the Jack being with the flap towards me, and I can mark them all with the little J. I'm also gonna remember the pockets using chased order. So I'll start from left to right like a book. So front left, chased, so clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds. You can also mark these in the corners like this, a dot for clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, so you don't lose track of all the information. So I would definitely take advantage of using a Sharpie and secretly marking these. If you're using white envelopes, you can try marking the edges, right? You can put one on each edge to distinguish different things, so you just know which one's which in case these get mixed up and you have to remember later on. Realistically though, you should be able to open this envelope with the double stick tape and double check if you needed to. But now I have all these set, and I'm gonna go in the routine. So if we're doing this male picture card routine, well, I'm gonna use the verbal equivocate force to get them down to male picture cards. So I've taught, you know, an entire playing card force. You can just take techniques from this video here, but basically you'd say, imagine I have an invisible deck of cards and you split it into picture cards and number cards, and you hand me one. Which one do you hand me? If they say pictures, you say, okay, perfect. I could take those picture cards, and we have the male picture cards and the female picture cards, okay? And now you're gonna set one on the table. You set the males or the females. If they say the females, you say, okay, so now you're left holding those male picture cards, and I want you to just think of one of them, right? Easy. If it went the other way, where when you said, I have numbers and pictures, which one do you hand me? And they say numbers, you say, okay, perfect. You're holding those picture cards, so spread them out in front of you. And now set one on the table. Which one do you set down? The ladies or the men? And they say, I set down the ladies. And you say, okay, perfect. Now again, you're left holding those males in your hands, right? So you can do something like that. I've talked about a ton of equivocate techniques here. And now you're saying, you know, name any one you want. You've made all the decisions. Which card did you go for? Let's say they say Jack of Hearts. And now you just go to your club's hearts pocket and you say, look, you know, you made every decision, but I have one envelope here in my pocket. You can look in this pocket. There's nothing else in there. And that's a nice little subtlety. Show them the pocket that you just took it out from. And now you can pull this out. I have this envelope here. You can see nothing funny about it. And I have one prediction here. Now, you're gonna rip down the side of the envelope. Again, I put the J so I know the flap faces towards me, and I tear the right side. The thing you have to be careful about is my strip of tape is about this wide. So if I rip wider than the strip of tape, then both flaps are going to open because the tape is going to be gone. So you need to rip narrower. So just rip, I just like to rip very narrow. So I just take a tiny little strip that I tear down. So I'm going to tear down like this, and now the tape is still intact, right? And now you can have the spectator hold out their hand, and look how great that looks, guys. I don't know if you'll pick it up on camera, but there's truly one flap, and you cannot see any other seam with the double stick tape. It's so well done. You can see there's just one billet in there, nothing else to see. So what I do is I can try to dump this out, or I can invite them to reach in and pull that out. And I said, look, you made every decision. You could have named any card, and of course, it is the Jack of Hearts. And again, you can, you know, hand them out this envelope. There's nothing to see. They'll never find that hidden king that is trapped in the other chamber. Now, if I had ripped it with the flap facing away from me, and I rip this side, as you'll see, again, I rip a small portion so I don't rip too much of the tape. Now, when you open up this side, look how perfect that is, guys. You can see the billet just falls right out, and there's nothing to see. It's one chamber, one pocket. If you look through, it just looks like a bottom of an empty envelope on both sides. It's really, really awesome, right? Either way you go. So I would recommend you play around with this gimmick a little bit to truly understand how it works, which side to tear and how to build it. Once you got it down, it's amazing. So now let's talk about some of my other ideas and how to really take this to the next level. We'll talk about the routine that I did in the performance. So one great idea is to actually combine this with a psych force, okay? So think of any thing you want, something that has like a fairly limited category but feels fairly broad, right? Like insects is a great example, or fruits or vegetables, right? And you can combine this with other psych force techniques to kind of like force them in. Like there's the spider force. You could try to force them to get onto spider by saying, you know, I want you to imagine an insect crawling up your neck, okay? Any insect you want. And most likely they'll think of spider, right? It's a psychological force. But now you have a bunch of outs in case it doesn't hit. So what I would do is prepare, I think 4 is a great number. If you prepare 4 of these envelopes, you have 8 outs. You can add more by having jacket on, you know, using your jacket pockets. You can have 6 outs. You can put multiple envelopes in the same pocket and just kind of index them front, middle, back. So now I could have like 3 in each pocket. So then that would be like 12, 24 outs, right? There's, you know, you can do as many as you want, but I think 4 is kind of the sweet spot, 8 outs. So for insects, I'd write down dragonfly, I'd write down butterfly, I'd write down spider, even though it's an arachnid, but people will say it as an insect. You know, fly, ladybug, all these things. What I would do when you're creating these forces, go on ChatGPT or Google and have it list you, or Google, the most common insects, and write down, you know, the top 10, and those will be your 10 outs. You'll have these envelopes set up in your pocket, and you want to come up with a mnemonic system to memorize it. So that's what I did in the performance. I had 4 envelopes prepared. They were just on the table, but they would be on my pocket. And whatever ChatGPT named, I had the envelopes marked, right? So I had a small letter for each insect. So I had a D for dragonfly, an S for spider, and then I combined them by things that went together. So like dragonfly and butterfly, you know, ladybug and beetle. Like I try to combine them, you know, in ways like that. You can use mnemonics, whatever. But you want something that you can remember which pocket they're in, right? So you can just reach into that pocket, pull it out, and then show them there's nothing else in that pocket if you're doing a single envelope per pocket, which I would recommend. And now you can, you know, hit any insect. So you just say, look, I want you to think of any insect. I've made a prediction. I've committed to it. I have it written, sealed in an envelope, and they'll name it. And then you go into your pocket and say, look, like I said, I have an envelope here with a prediction in it. And then you just tear down, right? You don't have to mark any of them. You could just memorize everything. But that's a great idea, using like insects, vegetables, right? Where you have carrot and broccoli probably being the most common, but you can try to weave in all the other options, like just super, super strong stuff that you can do here. You just have to get creative with it, right? That's the key. And combining this, like I said, with psych forces, like if you did the spider force, so think of it, an insect, imagine something crawling up the back of your neck. You could do it with just 2 outs, spider and, you know, dragonfly. Now, what do you do as an out? Well, as an out, what I would recommend is having like either another billet or writing on the envelope your item or your insect. Like depends what it is. So for this, I'd write your insect on a billet, or your insect I'd write on the other side of the envelope. So I take it out, they don't see that, and then I bring it out and I'd say, you know, name any insect. Now, if they don't say spider or dragonfly, let's say I only had 2 outs, let's say they say ladybug, and I say, now wouldn't it be amazing if I had your insect written on this envelope? And they say, yeah, of course. And then you just turn it around and you say, there you go, your insect. And you just move on. It's a gag routine. You do something else. That's an option always as an out with these kind of things, right? Just make it a gag and move into something else, right? If one of your outs doesn't hit. But I think with 8 outs, you should be able to come up with tons of psych forces. You could do months, force months, right? Again, you can either just say name a month, or you can try to combine it with a psych force and say, you know, name a time of the year that, you know, you really connect with. Maybe some time where you're outside with your family, and now you're forcing fall, summer, spring months, and you can get those 8, you know, out of the way. They're not picking November, December, that sort of thing, so you can rule those out, right? You can kill some outs saying them out loud. Like you could say, okay, so I want you to name a month, any month you want. You know, for me, my favorite month is August and December, because that's when my brother was born, that's when I was born. And now I've just killed those 2, they won't name them, and you have all your other outs. So tons of ideas that way. I really like using this for like insects, fruits, vegetables, all kinds of categories, just using multiple outs. It's a great routine, you know, great way to gimmick an envelope, and you can get so creative with this. Now, if you guys would like to take this routine to the next level, learn how to get more outs out of a single envelope, not just limited to 2, an incredible technique that can let you take all this here to the next level, learn incredible routines, bonus ideas. This just scratches the surface. If that sounds like something you're interested in, you can check out this video right here. I've taught this to the members of my Mentalism membership over a month ago. After watching that video, you won't be using this envelope anymore. All right, guys, that is it from me on this video. I hope you loved the idea behind this little device. It's super practical, super useful, and I really like the routine with the multiple outs and the multiple envelopes. I hope you guys love it and can get creative with this. Let me know what you guys will use this for in the comments down below if you have any routines that come to mind. And if you guys would like to check out some private lessons, you can at the link in the description, or if you'd like to join my Mentalism membership, you can as well. I'm also having a Q&A coming up soon, so if you guys would like to have your question featured in the Q&A, please drop some questions down in the comments. And with all that said, guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.